All right, good morning, everyone. I have the update that everyone has been eagerly waiting for. The tokenomics upgrade proposal will be going on-chain for a no-action vote for all members on the 15th of November. For those of you listening, you know that's less than 24 hours away, and if you're listening to this recording, NMPIP-209 is likely to be open for voting in the Nexus Mutual UI while you're listening to this recording. I'll take some time this morning to review the complete proposal. Since this is a critically important vote, I want to ensure everybody has the information they need to participate in the no action vote. Moving on to the next slide, I'll just review the summary very quickly. Now that the auditing phase has been completed and the auditing reports have come back from both Isoro and Chaos Labs, which you can review in the proposal on the forum, I've included both of those updates in the documentation in the auditing and security section, and that's also in the proposal that is on the forum. But since the auditing phase has been completed, we will be moving on to the on-chain governance vote. The DAO, R&D, community, and foundation engineering teams have put up this proposal, which asks members if they want to replace the bonding curve with the Ratcheting AMM, and if members want to remove the minimum capital requirement floor, which currently stands at 162,424 ETH. Just for context, in October of 2020, members voted to set the MCR floor at this value, and NMPIP-209, if approved by members, would remove that artificial floor and move to a cover-driven MCR. On the next slide, I'll go over the rationale very quickly. So if you've joined the mutual sometime after December 2020, you may not be familiar with the history behind the MCR lock and the price divergence between NXM and the open market. This led to the current situation where members are not able to redeem NXM for ETH since the MCR ratio, or the amount of capital in ETH terms held on the capital pool over the MCR floor value in ETH, has primarily been below 100% since that time. Anytime where it did rise above that 100% value, there were bots that were arbing the bonding curve, which allowed a couple people to realize some value, but ultimately this led to most members not being able to redeem their NXM for ETH. So because this problem came about, the Nexus Mutual community started discussing ways to solve the MCR lock situation, and it was from these discussions that the Tokenomics working group emerged. The DAO R&D team has led this project, along with the foundation engineering team and the wider Nexus Mutual community, and through the community's hard work, the Ratcheting AMM was proposed, and members signaled their support for this mechanism as a potential replacement for the bonding curve. The goal of the RAMM is pretty straightforward: bring the price of NXM and the open market valuation together again, allow members who wish to exit to do so directly from the protocol at a reasonable price, allow the protocol to capture capital when members wish to provide it, and create positive value for long-term aligned members. Going to the next slide, I'll just quickly touch on the parameters. You can find the proposed initial parameters for the RAMM in this proposal. For context, the Nexus Mutual community participated in the liquidity parameter discussions, which happened in phases 2 and 3, and members signaled their support for these values. So if approved, the RAMM would have an initial budget of 43,835 ETH, which is roughly $90 million worth of ETH, and that will be made available for any members to redeem their NXM for ETH during a 30-day period, which is the initial exit period. After that, the liquidity target will be set at 5,000 ETH, and that will be the amount of liquidity that is provided on an ongoing basis within the RAMM. You can see some of these other values like liquidity speed out, which is the amount of ETH that would come out of the RAMM if it is above that target ETH liquidity. So if the amount of liquidity allocated in the above pool is over 5,000 ETH, then some liquidity will be removed. And if the liquidity that's in the RAMM is less than 5,000 ETH, then 100 ETH per day will move into the RAMM as well. But during this initial exit period, the fast liquidity speed, or how quickly liquidity is replenished on a day-to-day basis, is going to be set at 1,500 ETH. And the Oracle buffer is that margin to allow for Oracle lag when calculating book value in ETH. This just makes sure that there's no arbitrage situations that lead to value destruction for members who hold NXM, and that was decided to be set at 1% based on the discussions during the liquidity parameter discussions. So again, the values on this slide were reviewed, discussed, and supported by Nexus Mutual members on the forum and through snapshot signaling votes. For a full list of the initial parameters at launch, you can see the proposal and the RAMM white paper. Moving on to the next slide, I'll just talk a little bit about the timeline. So this no action vote will go live on the 15th of November and will be open for voting over a 3-day period. So this vote will be live for 72 hours. Every on-chain proposal is subject to a 24-hour cooldown period before any action can be taken, whether or not the proposal is approved or rejected by members. But if members vote to approve NMPIP-209, the advisory board will execute the upgrade and deploy the contracts after the cooldown period passes. When the vote is put on chain, I will make announcements on the Nexus Mutual Twitter account, in the Discord server, and on Lens. You'll also see a banner in the Nexus Mutual UI and a banner on the main Nexus Mutual website that highlights NMPIP-209 is open for voting. Basically, anywhere we can, we're going to announce this is live to make sure that everyone is aware that this is an ongoing vote and that they can participate in the vote. I do hope everyone takes the time to read this proposal and review it if you haven't already, and participate in this vote when it goes live. This vote is going to be the culmination of over a year of work on behalf of the entire community. If you want to learn more about the RAMM, you can review the resources included in the proposal or read through the Nexus Mutual documentation. I've updated the token model section and any other sections where the MCR or token model was discussed in the docs. So briefly, I'll touch on the work completed to date. In January, members signaled their support for the RAMM mechanism, and the R&D and engineering teams refined the mechanism before development started in late May. Ray and I put together the educational materials for Phase 1 to prepare everyone for the liquidity parameter discussions in Phase 2, where we received very valuable feedback from the community. We progressed through Phases 2 and 3 as the engineering team developed the RAMM selected contracts in tandem with our parameter discussions. Once the smart contract development was completed, the engineering team conducted extensive testing and prepared the contracts for audit. The Foundation commissioned Chaos Labs to conduct the economic audit of the RAMM mechanism, and Usoro for the solidity audit. Both audits were conducted and completed in October, and no significant findings were returned. You can review both of those reports in the documentation and in the NMPIP-209 proposal as well. Now that the testing and auditing phase is completed, we're moving to the on-chain governance vote. A big thank you to everybody who has contributed to the tokenomics discussion on Discord and on the forum, as well as the teams who have worked to get this proposal on-chain. I'm looking forward to voting on this NMPIP, and I hope you are too. So a lot of work and a lot of progress has gone into this.